There is a moment that many men over 60 remember very clearly. Not when they look in the mirror, not when their weight changes, but the first time they stand up and realize their body no longer springs up the way it used to. If you are a senior, over 60, you may have experienced small moments like these, needing to push with your hands to stand up more comfortably, walking down stairs more slowly, even though your mind still feels sharp, hesitating for a second when stepping out of a car, or walking a longer distance and feeling your legs run out of power much faster than they did a few years ago. What I find interesting is that most men do not see these as signals from the body. They simply tell themselves, I guess I'm just getting old. Then they try to walk more, exercise more, or search for every possible way to increase testosterone naturally and boost testosterone naturally. But in many cases I've seen in the field of senior men's health, the issue is not just low testosterone. The body is beginning to lose its ability to coordinate and generate force at the right moment. In 2018, a research team from the University of Michigan studied movement ability in older men and found that the earliest decline was often not muscle mass itself. It was speed of force production, reaction ability during movement, and stability in everyday motions. That is why many people can still walk, but struggle when standing up from a chair, changing direction quickly, or maintaining balance after a slight misstep. And here is the most important part. Many people have not truly lost their strength. Their body has simply forgotten how to activate it. Today, I'm going to share 3 very simple exercises for seniors. No gym, no heavy workouts, no need to prove anything. The goal is to help your body respond better, help your steps feel steadier, and help you maintain that feeling of still having strength for as long as possible after 60.
Before we talk about low testosterone or any exercises that help boost testosterone naturally, I want you to notice something much simpler. Is your body still responding well? Not by looking in the mirror, not by checking your weight, but by paying attention to how your body reacts to very normal, everyday movements. Now, try this with me. If needed, stand near a chair or table for safety. Sit down in a chair normally. Relax your shoulders. Don't use momentum. This time, stand up without using your hands. Don't rush. I want you to pay attention to what your body truly feels like. Do your legs shake slightly? Do your knees feel unstable? Do you unconsciously lean your body far forward? Or do your hips feel like they are barely participating at all? Many men over 60 tell me, I can still walk, so I assumed I was still strong. But then they realize the hardest part is not walking. It's the small movements that require explosive force and stability. Things like standing up from a chair, stepping down stairs, turning quickly, or maintaining balance when the legs become tired. One very interesting thing is that in many cases I've seen in senior men's health, the problem is not that the body has run out of strength. It's that the body is beginning to forget how to use its strength at the right time.
This is something I wish more men understood earlier, before they start believing their body is completely going downhill. Many people over 60 still have muscle. The problem is that the body is no longer using those muscles correctly. I notice this quite often in men who still walk every day. They are still active, still going outside, still trying to stay healthy. But when they stand up from a chair or walk downstairs, the hips barely participate at all. All the force shifts into the knees, lower back, or front thighs. That causes the body to fatigue much faster. In 2016, a study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that the loss of muscle power in older adults happens faster than the loss of muscle mass itself. In simple terms, many people do not completely lose strength. They lose the ability to generate force quickly and at the right moment.
That is why some people can still walk for 30 minutes, yet struggle when stepping out of a car, turning quickly, or maintaining balance after a slight misstep. And this is the part I think many men truly need to hear. A lot of people over 60 are actually very active. They walk every day, they try to stay more active. Some even train harder than they did in their 40s. Yet their body still feels weak, easily fatigued, unstable, and increasingly sluggish. Sometimes the reason is not that they exercise too little. It's that they train in a way that causes the body to compensate even more. The first mistake I see very often is using only the knees to generate force. You can notice this when standing up from a chair. The body leans far forward, the knees tense up, but the hips are almost completely asleep. The second mistake, doing everything too fast. Many people think the more reps, the better. But after 60, the body responds much better to slow movement, control, and clear muscle signals. A 69-year-old man once told me, "I thought my legs were weak until I realized I had never truly used my hips to stand up." The final mistake is the most dangerous one. Many people begin to believe this is just old age. And once they believe that, they stop trying. They stop activating their body. They stop expecting improvement to be possible. But right now, I'm going to share the first exercise I often use to help the body wake up that hidden strength again.
Exercise 1, the reset. This first exercise actually looks very simple. Many people will even think, that's it? But after many years working in senior men's health, this is one of the exercises I've seen help the body reconnect most effectively after 60. Exercise: chair-supported hip hinge. Stand behind a chair or lightly place your hands on a table. Feet hip-width apart. Knees slightly soft. Now push your hips backward as if you were trying to close a door with your glutes. Do not bend from your lower back. Do not fold forward like you're trying to touch your toes. The most important thing is, you should feel your hips and glutes beginning to participate in the movement. The first time they try this, many people only feel their lower back or front thighs. That is very common. A 2021 study from the University of Waterloo found that when older adults improved their hip hinge mechanics, pressure on the knees and lower back could be significantly reduced during everyday activities, such as standing up and lifting objects. Don't do it quickly. After 60, the body relearns better through slow and clear movement. Try 8 to 10 repetitions. And notice this, when you stand upright again, do you feel just a little more stable? Exercise 2, the stability builder. Once the body begins to wake up the hips again, this is the next exercise I really like for men over 60. Not because it is intense, but because it teaches the body how to regain stability. Many people think they have weak legs, but what they truly lack is the ability to keep the body stable while shifting weight. For example, stepping down from a curb, changing direction while walking, taking a quick step to regain balance, or standing on one leg while putting on pants. Exercise: supported split squat. Stand next to a chair or table so one hand can lightly hold on for support. 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind. The distance does not need to be very wide. Now, slowly lower your body just a few inches. No need to go deep. The goal is not to make your thighs burn. The goal is to keep your body stable and controlled. What I often remind people is this: imagine lowering yourself like an elevator, not dropping like a rock. A study from Harvard Medical School mentioned that unilateral movements, exercises where each leg works separately, may help improve balance and body response more effectively in older adults compared to only training both legs together.
Interestingly, many people do not notice this exercise first in their legs. They notice steadier walking, smoother turning, and less hesitation when changing direction.
Exercise 3. The power signal. When the hips begin working better, and when the body starts becoming more stable, this is the final exercise I want you to try. Actually, it doesn't look like a testosterone exercise. It feels more like an exercise that helps the body remember the feeling of, I'm still strong. Exercise. Farmer carry. All you need is 2 water bottles, 2 small bags, or 2 light dumbbells if you have them. Stand upright. Relax your shoulders. No need to puff your chest out excessively. Now, simply walk slowly, about 20 to 30 seconds. It sounds simple, but here is the interesting part. When you carry a moderate weight and walk steadily, the body has to coordinate many things at the same time. The feet, hips, core, shoulders, balance, and even posture reflexes. In 2015, a study published in Clinical Interventions in Aging found that grip strength is closely related to mobility and level of independence in older adults. So sometimes what the body needs is not a complicated workout. It needs movements that make the entire system participate again. One thing I often notice in many seniors is this. After a few weeks of training like this, they don't say, my muscles look bigger. They say, I walk more steadily. My body feels less loose and unstable. I feel like I still have strength left in me. This part is very important because many people truly train hard, yet their body does not change the way they expected. The first mistake I see very often is training too fast. Many men over 60 still carry the mindset, if the workout doesn't exhaust me, it isn't effective. So they stand up and sit down very quickly, carry weights that are too heavy, or force their body to train the way they did in their 30s or 40s. But the older body usually responds much better to control, slower pacing, and stable movement. A study from McMaster University on resistance training in older adults found that movement quality and consistency had a greater impact than heavy training during the early stages of improving physical function. The second mistake is ignoring recovery. Many people continue training even when their knees hurt, their lower back feels tight, or their body is exhausted. I often tell people pain is information. Pain does not always mean the body is getting stronger. The final mistake is probably the most common one, comparing your current body to the version of yourself from 20 years ago. After 60, the goal is no longer about proving something. It is about keeping the body responsive, maintaining stability, and preserving independence for as long as possible.
Now, I want you to go back to the test from the beginning, not to see whether you are suddenly stronger, but to notice whether your body responds a little differently. Try standing up from the chair one more time. Don't use your hands if possible, but this time remember, lightly engage your hips, keep your body stable, and don't rush. Many people do not notice a dramatic difference immediately. That is completely normal. But one thing I often hear after just a few minutes of moving correctly is, my body feels a little more solid, or standing up feels less heavy than before. Actually, that is often the very first sign that the body is beginning to participate again. Not because the muscles suddenly became bigger, not because testosterone magically increased, but because the movement system is beginning to coordinate more effectively again. In senior men's health, these small changes are often far more important than people realize, because sometimes the feeling that your body still responds well is exactly what helps a person regain confidence in movement.
This is the most important thing I want you to remember after today's video. The real goal is not to train so you can look younger or prove that you are still as strong as you were at 30. After 60, most men simply want one very basic thing: for their body to still be there for them.
That means still being able to stand up easily on your own, walk downstairs without wobbling, carry things independently, walk with your wife or grandchildren, and not have to think too much about every single step. That is the true core of senior health. Not chasing perfection, but preserving independence for as long as possible. Many people think that low testosterone or getting weaker is the end, but in reality, the body can continue adapting long after 60 if you keep giving it the right movement signals, consistent motion, and a reason to continue responding. If today you felt your body responding a little better, even just slightly, then I want you to try this for 7 days. Just 5 minutes each morning. A few hip hinges, a few gentle split squat repetitions, and a slow, steady farmer carry walk. One thing I've learned after many years of working with seniors is that the aging body does not like being forced. It responds better to consistent reminders. So if you decide to join this challenge, leave a comment saying, Day 1. Not to prove anything to anyone, but to remind yourself that your body still has the ability to adapt. It still has the ability to become stronger, and it still has the ability to stay with you for many more years.